Hi everyone, this is Miss S doing the 4.02 quiz. To access your 4.02 quiz for Part A of the U.S. History course, click on Unit 5 tab, and as it expands, click on the 502 quiz. There'll be a Begin 502 quiz button. Click Begin Now. As you go through your quiz, always make sure to save your answers as you go, and then when you're done, submit for grading. Always check to make sure that your grade recorded correctly in the grade book. If it did not, please contact me and I will help you as soon as I can. Alright, so let's take a look at this quiz. You have 10 questions for the 502 quiz. Number 1, which of the following best describes the abolition and women's reform movement in the first half of the 19th century? The abolition movement was only successful because of the success of the women's rights movement. These two movements did not succeed completely in attaining their goals during this period. The women's rights movement started after the abolition movement had attained its goals. Or the last option, these two movements were largely successful in attaining their goals during this period. Number 2, which of the lists shown here contain the names of abolitionists? List A, Lyman Beecher, Middle Class Women, and Robert Owen. List B, Horace Mann and Emma Willard. List C, Lucretia Mott and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Or List D, William Lloyd Garrison, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, or Angelina Grimke. Number 3 has the same group of people offered as options. Which of the lists shown here contains names of education reformers? List A, Lyman Beecher, Middle Class Christian Women and Robert Owen. List B, Horace Mann and Emma Willard. List C, Lucretia Mott and Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Or List D, William Lloyd Garrison, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, or Angelina Grimke. Number 4, same list again. Which of the lists shown here contains names of women's rights reformers? List A, Lyman Beecher, Middle Class Christian Women, and Robert Owen. List B, Horace Mann and Emma Willard. List C, Lucretia Mott, Elizabeth Cady Stanton. Or List D, William Lloyd Garrison, Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, and Angelina Grimke. Number 5, which of the following was a right that early 19th century women had? The right to attend church, the right to enter into contracts, the right to file a lawsuit, or the right to vote. Number 6, which of the following best describes the American public's reaction to the Seneca Falls Declaration of Sentiments? Most Americans supported the Declaration's proposals and the women's rights movement gained momentum. Surprisingly, most men supported the Declaration, but the majority of women opposed it. Most people, including women, did not embrace the Declaration's proposals and were opposed to women's rights. Public reaction was in favor of the Declaration, and state legislatures began passing bills granting women more rights. Which of the following does not explain why most reformers in the 1830s and 1840s took on the type of work they did? Was it because they believed that practical solutions could be found for most problems of the day? They believed that society and the individual could be perfected. Their religion required that they perform work for the disadvantaged. Or the last option, their religion stressed a dedication to making the world a better place in which to live. Number 8, what was the goal of most utopian communities in the first half of the 19th century? To create communities where production of goods is achieved through work assignments based on skills, to achieve a state of perfection through adherence to a strict set of moral and ethical guidelines. The third option, the welfare and happiness of all residents through the practice of complex marriages. Or the last option, the growth of additional utopian communities through the practice of celibacy. Number 9, what prompted Dorothea Dix to try to reform prison asylums? A mentally ill family member who was mistreated in an asylum, federal laws that were biased against prisoners and the mentally ill, cruel and inhumane treatment of prisoners and the mentally ill, or overcrowding of state prisons and asylums for the mentally ill. Number 10, which of the following best describes the success of major reform movements of the early 19th century? They were successful in every aspect, and American society radically changed for the better. They experienced some success primarily because of the religious movements of the time. They experienced little success mainly due to the failure of reformers to attract followers, or the last option, they were totally unsuccessful because most Americans of that era were anti religion and refused to help. That ends your 5.02 quiz. If you have any questions at all, please contact me and let me know. Good luck!